Więcej pary, idioto. I wyciągasz parówki. Parówki wyciągasz. Parówki.
Hello everyone, welcome to Poland with Ela. I'm Ela and I'll be showing you around all the most beautiful and interesting places in Poland and explaining the intricacies of our culture, history and traditions. And so, in case you're traveling to Zakopane, Krakow, or want to check out some free museums to visit in Warsaw, or see the Polish weddings from the inside, make sure you check out my previous videos. And in today's video, I will be talking about the Polish folk wisdom. But before we get there, make sure you subscribe to my channel not to miss any of my future episodes. Folk wisdom is something that shapes who we are and describes our mentality. Sometimes it's so intertwined in who we are that we might actually not notice it. I actually started realizing it only when I lived abroad, and though I spoke English, sometimes my friends had no idea what I was saying. And here are some of the Polish phrases which exemplify that.
Dzień dobry, cześć i czołem. Pytacie skąd się wziąłem. Jestem wesoły Romek, mam na przedmieściu domek, a w domku wodę, światło, gaz. Powtarzam zatem jeszcze raz. Jestem wesoły Romek.
Zabierzcie go stąd.
I 5 o towar.
Niedźwiedzia przysługa. In English it literally means a bear's favor. And it actually means a favor which causes harm to the person it was supposed to help. And the phrase comes from a fable where a bear killed a hermit as he was trying to remove a fly from his forehead.
Dzień dobry, panie kierowco. Musi nam pan pomóc.
Ej, jo.
Te, laska. Gliny za nami jadą.
Dodaj gazu, stary. Ale spokojnie.
Dzielić skórę na niedźwiedziu. This phrase literally translates to split the bear's skin, and it means to get prematurely excited about something that we don't know for certain will actually happen, and it implies that we should not depend on something until we are sure that it will actually take place. And I'm pretty sure that this phrase comes from hunting, when the hunters would go on a hunt and they would fight over who gets the bear's fur before they even found the bear. And I believe that the English equivalent for that phrase is to count the chickens before they're hatched.
Paskudztwo, paskudztwo, obrzydlistwo.
Myślał indyk o niedzieli. This phrase literally translates to the turkey was thinking of Sunday. And the meaning of this phrase is actually very similar to the one about a bear, the previous one about splitting the bear's skin. And if you're Polish, you probably know the second part of this phrase, which is usually just implied, and the whole thing goes like this. Myślał indyk o niedzieli, a w sobotę łeb mu ścieli. And it translates to the turkey was making plans for Sunday, but on a Saturday his head was cut off. And I think it's pretty much self-explanatory.
Panowie, to jest jakaś pomyłka.
Pomyłka. Moja żona miała na drugie pomyłkę.
Gdzie dwóch Polaków, tam 3 opinie. It literally translates to where there is 2 Poles, there will be 3 opinions. And I did speak about this phrase in one of my previous videos, and you should see a link somewhere around there. And I will also put a link to it in the description box, so if you want, check it out after watching this one. But just to sum it up, we Poles are very opinionated. We tend to have a strong opinion on pretty much anything. And I think partially it's related to knowledge, because none of us want to think of themselves as ignorant. And you cannot have an opinion on something if you don't know anything about it. It does get quite tricky during debates and discussions when 2 opposing sides realize that they're getting closer and closer to a common conclusion, suddenly they start to shift with their arguments to end up in discussion and not agreeing with their opponent, because for many it's a point of honor to have a different opinion from their opponent.
Próbuję im złapać. Na zegarku 10 sekund bez gdakania, ale się nie udaje. Ani 5. I tak 3 godziny 48 minut każda. Razem 11 godzin 24 minuty.
And on that note, let's go to the next phrase. Gdzie dwóch się kłóci, tam trzeci korzysta. Which literally translates to where two fight, the third one profits. I think there is an English equivalent to this phrase, which goes like, two dogs strive for a bone, the third one runs away with it. And I think this phrase is applicable pretty much anywhere in the world.
Już! Gdzie jest ten drugi?
Musiał wyjść.
A ty kto jesteś?
Siara.
And now a typical self-deprecating Polish phrase. Mądry Polak po szkodzie. Which literally translates to a Pole is wiser after the damage has been done. And I think this phrase might have originated from history, whenever Poland was in danger, people would always fight what it is that should be done. There were two poles, there would be three opinions, and only after the damage has been done, everyone knew what it is that should have been done to begin with. But I think this phrase applies to pretty much every mundane, daily thing, daily events, and pretty much anywhere in the world.
Musimy uciekać stąd natychmiast.
Gdzie? Widziałeś, jak to wszystko zorganizowane? Dostaną nas wszędzie.
Ucieczka to nasz obowiązek.
Co? Gdzie? Drzwi pod prądem, co? Podkop, lampa w podłodze. Wszystko to popieprzone. Zostawcie mnie. La la la, la la la, la 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 la.
There's a phrase that has been ringing in my head for quite some time now, until I've decided to start a vlog about Poland. For many years I've wanted to travel the world, make videos about what I see, what I experience, but this particular phrase kept coming back in my head, and it is as follows. Cudze chwalicie, swego nie znacie. And it literally translates to, you praise the foreign, you don't know your own. So I've decided to prove this phrase wrong and start a vlog about my own country.
No fajne są filmy zagraniczne, wie pan? Już tak można, wie pan, jakoś tak, no ja wiem, no... Przeżyć to, przeżyć, wie pan? Przeżyć. A w filmie polskim, proszę pana, to jest tak. Nuda.
The last phrase I wanted to share with you guys is one of my personal favorites, and I don't know if it's the image that it brings to my head or if it's the meaning behind it, but I think it is a good phrase to ponder. Słowo się rzekło, kobyłka u płotu. And it literally translates to, the word has been spoken, the mare is at the fence. And it means that no matter the circumstances, a person should stick to what they've promised. And there is an interesting anecdote related to this phrase that explains the origins of the story and the meaning behind it. So the story goes like this. Back in the 18th century, a nobleman from the city of Łuków, Jakub Zaleski, decided to travel to Warsaw to meet with the king John III Sobieski to negotiate inheriting the lands and the office of the mayor after his deceased brother. He traveled by horseback because that was the way to travel at the time, and while he got into the castle, they told him that the king is out hunting. So he went to the forest searching for the king, could not find him. He ran into another nobleman and told his story. The nobleman that he ran into asked him, "What would you do if the king did not grant your request?" And Zaleski, very full of himself, said, "Then I will tell him to kiss my mare's ass." Well, unsuccessful in his search, Zaleski went back to the castle, where he found out that the king was already there and could meet with him. So Zaleski went to meet the king and realized that the nobleman he spoke in the forest with was actually the king, John III Sobieski. So John III Sobieski asked his subject, "What would you do if I did not grant you that request?" And scared out of his wits, but could not go back on his word, Zaleski looked at him shakily and said, "Well, the word has been spoken. The mayor is at the fence." And the king was so amused with this bold answer and Zaleski's bravery in a way that he decided to grant him all his requests.
Kargul, podejdź no do plota. A no co? Podejdź. Jak ja podchodzę.
Well, what can I say? Sometimes it pays off to be bold and stick to our word, even in the most unfavorable circumstances. That's it from me. Write in the comments if there is any other Polish phrases that you would like me to explore, and see you soon.